Talking about this idea, I mean, often when we talk about talent, particularly star talent, I think there's often this question of, should as an organization we be kind of trying to develop this talent internally through kind of strong succession and development programs, or should we be kind of going out in the market and really recruiting this type of talent in? So how do you think about that build and buy decision, particularly within the context of stars? Is it the same type of discussion or does it differ somehow?
So I think I'll go back to a point I made before that with stars, everything has the potential to be magnified, right? So all of the considerations we make, we have to think about them more carefully and think about how to manage them a little bit more closely in the context of stars. So one interesting finding that we see is that when stars change organizations, they see a significant drop in their performance. And we actually see this across all employees, and it makes sense, right? Your performance to some extent is embedded in the organization you're working in. The colleagues that you're working with help to support that. And so when you change, you move to a new employer, you don't know anyone, you don't know how things work, it takes you a little time to come up to speed. The difference with stars is that stars' performance is so visible, right? So organizations hire stars with an expectation of they know what they're going to get. They know they're going to get this incredible value. And so that drop in performance is a little bit or a lot more of a letdown than with the sort of typical employee. And stars do bounce back, but that is something to be aware of, particularly if you've got some time-sensitive projects, if you are going to the external market. So a related point is I would emphasize the importance of fit. So again, this applies to all employees. You want to bring in employees or develop employees that are a really good fit for the values of your organization, the culture of the organization, the manager they're going to be working for, which can be more challenging when you're hiring externally, right? When you develop internally, you invest in the people who you know fit. They're the ones who stick around. Externally, you don't necessarily know if it's going to be a good fit. And because stars have the potential to have so much influence, they have the potential to either kind of raise up or just wreak havoc on the work environment and on any team they're working in. And so evaluating that fit is incredibly important in the context of bringing a star in. So those 2 points sort of point to, we should be developing internally. And while that can be great for predictability, there's a reality that there's a smaller talent pool within the organization than there is externally. So sometimes investing internally is not an option. Another point is sometimes the people you're investing in who you know are a good fit don't necessarily have the capacity to become superstars. So the investment might not pan out. The other possibility is that they could leave, right? Another organization could poach them. And so that's sort of something we need to be prepared for. And so at the risk of repeating myself again, it comes down to balance. I think it comes down to, you definitely want to continue to invest in that strong internal pipeline. At the same time, you're probably, if you're looking for stars, you're probably going to at some point have to turn to the external market. And in doing so, that's where those considerations come in. Be prepared for a drop in performance. Be prepared for to need to engage in a really careful assessment of fit. Not just an assessment of, does it seem like this person fits the culture? Maybe even bring in the team they're going to work with. Certainly bring in the manager they're going to be working with and see if there's a fit there.
That makes a lot of sense. And I mean, your discussion around building stars internally, goes back to a question I had when you were talking about the definition of stars, which is, how good are companies at recognizing or identifying stars, right? Particularly in the formative years, and I think we know that it's somewhat of a imperfect process, right? And so
exactly.
The idea of identifying these people early on who are going to become stars and giving them the right development is always going to be somewhat of a hit or miss proposition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.